Today on the Topping Show, Twitter cancels Daily Wire, Trump attacks DeSantis, Amazon Alexa recorded kids, Bye Bye Beatty may be saved, SentinelOne stock crashes while Dell rises, Blizzard has a two-faced pride strategy, Walmart has pride merchandise but also Bibles, auto regulators want to implement legal reasoning for auto braking, and Ford recalls 140,000 SUVs. All that and much, much more on the Topping Show. Now, other interesting cultural news, you have Twitter gets canceled by the Daily Wire. Or reverse that, actually, Twitter cancels the Daily Wire. Now, Daily Wire has a specific contract with Twitter, and actually this is even worse timing. Daily Wire just had an agreement with Twitter where they were actually going to bring all their content there. Now, the Daily Wire is one of the largest, fastest growing conservative media companies headquartered out of Tennessee, and all their big personalities, they all have YouTube channels. You think of Ben Shapiro, you have Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, the comment section with Brett Cooper, and they all have very large, popular YouTube channels and presence. They're moving over to Twitter because YouTube is censoring and demonetizing them. Famously, Matt Walsh is getting demonetized because he will not acquiesce to YouTube's rules around pronouns. And Matt's faith and common sense, from his perspective, he will not bend the knee, so to say, going as far as he's actually giving up $100,000 a month. Apparently that's how much he's making, which in a day of two-faced people and very few people are consistent with their philosophy, I can't help but respect someone who actually is willing to give up that money to stick to their guns, which is a rare things these days. I wish more folks had the persistence or just the grit to stand by their convictions. Nevertheless, going back to my original statement, so they're moving their content, instead of posting on YouTube, they're going to post it on Twitter. Because Elon Musk is saying Twitter is the most free platform, and he cares more about free speech than anything else, and it would seem including making money, because there are some advertisers that will be turned off by free speech, and there are some advertisers that actually don't like free speech. I call those advertisers un-American. But unfortunately, they have a lot of traction and major brands partner with them. Now, Daily Wire actually specified a specific contract with Twitter where they were going to premiere their biggest documentary called What is a Woman by Matt Walsh, in which Matt Walsh literally goes around the globe asking different people and cultures, what is a woman? And it is one of the most entertaining documentaries I've ever seen, because it is hopefully hilarious as well as a little disappointing in terms of my faith in humanity, where he goes around the globe and, of course, he goes to Africa and they're like, yeah, we've never heard of these discrepancies. We have no idea what you're talking about. Furthering the point that a lot of people make, where this is a phenomenon with people and countries that have a lot of time and resources on their hand. But he has some people where they go up to him and they can't define it. Either because they're scared they'll be culturally prosecuted or persecuted or ousted by their society. But it's a very popular documentary, and it helped Daily Wire skyrocket. It nearly doubled the amount of paid subscribers they have, a monumentous, huge achievement for a fast-growing media company. Again, they have about 250 employees. In terms of media, that's pretty small, but they're one of the fastest growing, which is very admirable these days. And I always say more data, the better. More options, the better for the consumers. So they're going to premiere that show. They're going to have the movie for free on Twitter for about 24 hours. And at first, Twitter said, oh yeah, we are excited. We want to team up with you. We'll take your marketing dollars. We're going to have a special premiere page so that everyone can go there and they can watch the movie for free. Which for the Daily Wire would be life-changing, because it would be a huge exponential increase in their audience reach. Because on other platforms, they actually get blacklisted. It's made so that other people can't see it. So it's very hard for them to grow their business and promulgate those ideals when the traditional tech companies want to censor them. Now, they had the contract, they signed it. And then the Twitter moderators, they said, hey, can we get a copy of your movie? Because we weren't smart enough to actually watch it. And for how they hadn't already seen it by now is beyond me. It's one of the most popular documentaries, and I don't know how they missed it. But apparently the Twitter team viewed it, and they decided to basically void the whole contract and shadow ban the film. And they stipulated that not even their own followers on Twitter would be able to see it, including They cannot share it, tag people, advertise it, or pay to boost it or pay for it to be reached a greater audience. Basically meaning it's useless to the Daily Wire, because if no one could see it, what's the point? It's technically there, but none of the new users, and again, they're trying to reach a new audience, they're trying to grow their audience base. That's why they're doing this. It's also the 1 year anniversary of the production release of the film. And Twitter's basically saying, oh yeah, we're going to shadow ban it because of the sin of misgendering. And they're actually, I was surprised, in the movie there's only two instances. And one of them was an extremely heart-wrenching moment in which a father in Canada, and again, Canada has very different free speech. Well, they have no free speech in Canada. They have very different speech laws. If you insult the prime minister, you get fined or imprisoned. So if you insult the little Cuban Trudeau or Fidel Trudeau, it's a joke because his mom was a very promiscuous woman who apparently slept with Fidel Castro. And Justin Trudeau has a lot of communist ideals, from gun confiscation to quite literally praising China because of how swiftly they could respond to COVID-19. He was asked, "What country leader who do you really admire?" He said China, which says something about him. Now, there's a story where a father refers to his daughter as a her. Now, the mother, again, it's a Canadian family. The mother decided we're gonna transition the child again, child, and the mom started putting the kid on some drugs. Again, none of these drugs are proven. We do not know the long-term impact of these drugs. And the father is fighting tooth and nail to legally save his daughter from transitioning and taking hormones and testosterone to attempt to make her a boy. And the father called his daughter a her, and he took the kid away. Throughout the whole process, they took his kid away from him. And it is one of the most heart-wrenching stories of the whole documentary, and I can't imagine the pain of being in that man's position. But because he called his daughter her, Twitter said that was one of two instances where that's misgendering. You got to take that out of the movie. And of course, Daily Wire did not acquiesce to their demands. They stood strong and stood to their convictions. And the other instances where Matt Walsh interviewed a store owner in, I believe it was LA, somewhere in California, is a guy who owned a Star Wars store, and the man called a man when the man wanted to be a woman. When I think it was a new government official actually came into the man's Star Wars store and demanded to be called a certain pronoun, and the owner said, no, this is what you are. And there was a verbal altercation that was recorded. And of course, he was politically ostracized and very criticized based on the geographic area of the store owner. I'm not too surprised, but it is pretty disappointing when Twitter is known as the beacon of free speech. And specifically when Elon took over, he said, we're getting rid of that pronoun thing because we know people with religious convictions, and also just people, they don't believe in controlled or compelled speech. Compelled speech meaning you're punished if you do not acquiesce to my demands of you calling me XYZ. If you don't call me handsome and brilliant, you're in jail. That's the Canadian way. But not in America, not yet. Well, unfortunately for some tech platforms like Twitter before Elon bought them. Now, when Elon bought it, the Babylon Bee was a lot of accounts were reinstated who had previously committed that terrible sin, such as the Babylon Bee. And everyone was really hopeful, so it'll be interesting to see what will Elon do. Time shall tell. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Can't thank you enough for liking, subscribing, and commenting. All those things greatly help the channel grow and develop. We really appreciate the feedback. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone to stay safe and fight the good fight.